it's Jo and welcome to another YouTube video. This one is going to be a little bit different than what I normally post on here, which is art related content or studio vlogs regarding my small business / shop. But today I really wanted to touch on mental health as a small business owner because it's something I've definitely struggled with and I know a lot of other people do, but I find we don't talk about it a lot, and I just kind of wanted to talk and share my experiences with it so that maybe someone else doesn't feel quite so alone in how they're feeling about their small business. I have a bunch of different topics that I've written down on this sheet of paper. I asked over on Instagram for people to kind of put ideas for topics that affect them within the realm of mental health as a small business owner so that I could touch on those as well and speak on them. So I'm going to kind of work off of those prompts to talk about everything that I'm going to talk about today. This YouTube video is going to be a podcast style video, so there's nothing going on in the background of the video. There will be different title slides that change related to what I'm talking about, but other than that, just feel free to throw this on in the background and have a listen while you work, enjoy a cup of tea or coffee, and just hang out with me. Please consider hitting the subscribe button below. If you guys are interested in my content, it would really mean a lot to me. I'm really trying to grow here on YouTube. I also have links to my shop, my Patreon, Twitch, etc. All my social media links are down below as well if you're interested in checking out any of my art or content that I have to offer on any of my other platforms. Okay, so speaking of platforms and social media, that is kind of the first topic that I wanted to talk about today. So social media has a massive impact as a small business owner because for me at least, because my shop is all run online, I 100% rely on social media to help me promote my products and my shop to bring in sales to my shop. So I am on social media constantly trying to find new ideas of what to post. I'm on there trying to post all the time, trying to keep up with the algorithms, and it is exhausting. I have been struggling with the algorithms lately. I have a hard time trying to figure out how to grow and keep gaining on certain platforms. Instagram I struggled with for a long time. TikTok took off really well for me at first, but it has completely come to a standstill the past several months, and I'm having a hard time gaining traction on there again, and my content hasn't changed at all, so I'm not sure where the discrepancy is, and it can be really exhausting to keep pushing and creating, to motivate yourself to create content that nobody is seeing. And that's the hardest part, is I feel like you have to be consistent to stay relevant on these algorithms, but it can be so tiring to keep pushing content that nobody is even seeing. Another problem with social media that somebody brought up in my Instagram stories is comparisons. And I think this is something as an artist I fall victim to very frequently, and it has kind of trickled into me as a small business owner. It is so hard to be on social media and to not compare yourself to other people. I think a lot of people share their successes on social media, which is amazing, and share your successes, be proud of them, celebrate them with your followers. It does make it tricky being on the other side of that to see people do so well and wonder, why is that not me? And I think that's something that plagues all of us. And it's more so of how did they get there and how can I also achieve that, for me at least, than it is a jealousy thing. But it is hard not to compare yourself, to be like, what am I not doing right? What am I doing wrong? Why is what I'm making not selling? I think what I have is great quality and worthy of the traction that other people have, but it's just not gaining that traction. And it's really hard to come out of the negative mindset of comparing yourself. I do this a lot with my art. I always have. Ever since I've made art, I feel like I've done this. Comparing your art to other people's art, which, if you think about it, is kind of silly because everyone's art is unique and different no matter what your art style is. Every artist draws things differently and does things differently, works with different mediums. I think I see a lot of really cool, talented, amazing artists on Instagram and TikTok, And I just feel like sometimes my art just isn't at that same standard in my eyes. And I know that I'm my own harshest critic. I know that we all are, but it's definitely something that is a huge, huge struggle. I have gotten rid of most of my personal social media accounts, and this has helped me not spend so much time on social media and only spend time on it when I need to do things for the small business. That way I'm not just fully consumed by the negativity that social media can have on people. It's really hard. I still haven't figured out, I don't have good advice for how to stop comparing yourself to others because I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I just try to, if I find an artist or a small business owner that I really admire, I just look through their content and I study their content and I study what they're doing and how maybe I can change what I'm doing to be better and to kind of achieve the same level that I'm looking for as what I see in other small business owners or other artists that I see online. The next really big topic that I wanted to talk about that got brought up on Instagram a couple of times by a few people was the fact that being a small business owner means that you have an unconventional job and that you don't have a stable salary and you aren't working a normal person job. And I use air quotes because jobs come in all different forms, shapes, and sizes these days, especially with the internet being around. And it's a normal job, just maybe not normal or conventional in the eyes of some of the people in our lives. I struggle a lot with this because sometimes I'll have people ask me how much money I make and think that that's not a personal question to ask because I work an unconventional job, whereas I feel like people aren't as comfortable asking that when someone's working a traditional 9-to-5 type of job or working at a place for a company for somebody else. So I think it's kind of funny how that line gets blurred or erased as soon as you start working for yourself or running a small business, that people just feel completely comfortable asking you a personal question like that. And that goes back to not having a stable salary. And I think that's one of the hardest parts of having a small business and having a shop is your salary changes day to day, really. And it can change and fluctuate month to month, year to year. And having that instability financially is really tough on me mentally, especially because I use a lot of the money from the shop to help pay my bills. I don't have a secondary job that I use to help pay for that. I have to help pay for bills between my partner and I, and it can be really stressful when I see a dip in the shop and I'm not making that consistent money. The money that stays fairly consistent that I know I can rely on is from Patreon. So if you are an artist or a small business owner and you're not on Patreon, I definitely recommend looking into it, making sure that you have a following that will follow you onto Patreon, and just do your research. That could be a whole nother video in and of itself on how to have a Patreon, but it's definitely a lot more stable to have a source of income like that versus just relying on sales. And delving into just relying on sales for a moment, it also has a large mental health impact on me when I'm not making sales, which also ties back to posting on social media to try to promote products. It goes back to pushing myself to make new products to put into the shop, so hopefully I make some sales. Every aspect of what I do for my small business all ties into my mental health and how I feel, because I am a one-person band. I am one person that runs everything that I run for my small business, and it makes a huge impact when all these little things add up, because you're not an individual employee working in a company and you do what you're supposed to do, what's on your job description. When you're a small business owner, you are the boss, the manager, the social media planner, the digital artist. Like you wear every single hat, so it's so much more pressure to think about everything that you have to get done and to make decisions for your small business, and it can be a lot. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. It is normal to feel overwhelmed as a small business owner. Again, you are wearing every single hat, and it is hard to do every single thing on your own, which is why most big companies have lots of employees, whereas we don't have that luxury as a small business owner, and the hustle to even get to that point is so drastic. And it's okay. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It is okay to take breaks. that is the next topic I want to move into, is overworking and burning out. That's another huge topic that got brought up during my Instagram stories. I fall victim to this almost every single day. I push myself a lot. I work a lot of hours. I work significantly more hours than I would in a conventional, traditional job. You don't get paid nearly the same amount. So it's hard to stay motivated to want to work those long hours because you technically really aren't getting paid for a lot of them, but you need to in order to grow and push yourself to where you want to be with your small business. Taking breaks is so important. And I am hypocritical in saying this because I'm really bad at taking breaks. I've gotten better. I try to take weekends off. I try to take more breaks throughout the day. And it can be so hard to hyper focus and sit down and work for hours and hours on end just to try to get whatever you're doing done. But it is really important to be taking breaks and to be taking care of yourself. Listen to your body. This morning, I had a really hard time getting out of bed, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna set an alarm and I'm gonna sleep for half an hour or more. I'm gonna listen to my body. My body is tired, therefore my work is also gonna be tired, and I'm not gonna produce the highest quality of work that I could had I been able to take that extra half hour. And that's one of the major pros of running a small business and working for yourself and being self-employed. You get to make your own hours. You get to decide when to work. So that means that you have the time to take care of your mind. So don't forget about that. Like, as cheesy as that sounds, you have the time to take care of yourself, so do it. Listen to your body, what your body needs. You have the luxury to sit there and take time when you need it. So do it. Take that time. And it's equally as important to know when you need to push yourself, to motivate yourself to work if you've taken too much time. And that's the biggest struggle for me being self-employed, is to find the balance between the two. When you're working a 9-to-5 job, you go in for that set amount of hours, you have set breaks that you take throughout that day, and that's kind of that. Whereas when you're self-employed, you get to pick your own hours, you get to pick where to put your breaks. So find what works for you and stick with that. The other important thing with being self-employed is you are allowed to say no. A lot of people, including myself, especially when I started, I was pushing myself so much, and every project that came to me, every commission that came to me, I'd say yes no matter what, because I wanted the work and I wanted to get that experience and get all that under my belt. But now that I'm at the point where I'm at with my small business, it is so important to be able to say no. If there's a project that it just would be way too much and put your plate over the top full and make you stressed out, like, say no. It is okay to say no. You are not obligated to take on every single project that comes your way. Obviously, you have to sit down and evaluate what projects and what opportunities are going to be the best for you. And sometimes we don't always know the answer to that, but you don't want to take on every single thing that you can, because you will overwhelm yourself and be burnt out. And burnout is such a huge thing. I am really bad for this. I've gotten better, but I definitely, when I started, I would push myself to work past the point of burnout, and then I would hit a week where I wouldn't even work for an entire week because I'd be so burnt out and just so sick of drawing and so sick of working. And don't let yourself get to this point. Like I said, it's okay to take breaks and put those breaks in. If you need a day off in the middle of the week, take it. You can. You have the ability to, but just make sure when you come back the next day that you're ready and prepared for a productive day. The last topic that I kind of wanted to talk about in the realm of mental health was mental health itself, and not just all these contributing factors towards your mental health. So talking about depression and anxiety, that kind of thing. So I suffer from bipolar disorder. For those of you that don't know, I talk fairly openly about it on my social media because I know that a lot of other people also suffer from this, or suffer from depression or anxiety, anything under the realm of mental health. There's people out there who run small businesses that likely also suffer from the same thing. I talked a lot about this kind of when I first started because I really struggled with navigating my day-to-day emotions and trying to motivate myself to also work on my small business, because they were kind of two separate things. And it's hard when I'm feeling depressed or going through depression with my bipolar and trying to motivate myself to get out of bed to work, which is why I take that extra half an hour sometimes in the morning to get out of bed. And I feel so much better when I do that. And again, we have the luxury to do that kind of thing. If I am like manic and I'm just ready to work, and I know that I'm not ready to get to the point of burnout, then I take advantage of that. If I know that I'm in a manic mood and that I can get that work done and be productive, I'm going to take advantage of that portion of my mental health to benefit me and to benefit my small business, because I know that there are going to be days that are going to come where I'm feeling depressed or not feeling as great, and I need to take those days off, and it's okay to, because I took advantage of the days when I was feeling really productive. So it's really about listening to your body, listening to your mind, and working around that. If there are days that I unexpectedly feel like I have to take off because I'm not feeling well, I have the ability to do that, and I do it because I know that there's going to be another day where I'm feeling so motivated to get everything done, and then I do it. So it all balances each other out, and you don't have to feel pressured that you need to work a set schedule every single day or you have to work a certain amount of hours in a week, because it's not a conventional job, and you can do that. You can work however long you want, whenever you want during the week, and you just have to find that balance between getting everything you need to get done, but also taking the breaks that you need. The other thing that I'd like to talk about is anxiety, because I suffer from this a lot with my small business. I get a lot of anxiety right before shop updates. I get a lot of anxiety about social media. I get a lot of anxiety, or I had a lot of anxiety going live, being on YouTube, putting myself out there. And these are all really big things that contribute to my small business, but also contribute to anxiety as a whole. So it's important to I think it's important in your life to try to push yourself outside of your comfort zone sometimes, and it can be really anxiety inducing to do so, but putting my face to my business and putting myself out there has tremendously increased and grown my community, and I've met so many amazing people because I put myself out there. And I know that this is something that's really hard to do, but even though I felt an immense amount of anxiety before I went and did it, afterwards I felt so much better than I did before I had my anxiety. Hopefully that makes sense, but just try to push yourself to go outside of your comfort zone. Obviously, don't push yourself too much. Take small steps. Take it day by day. When I first started posting on social media, I posted a lot of what I was doing and not a lot of my face, and I slowly introduced that as I felt more comfortable doing so. I think it just really personalizes your business, and people are able to put a face to the name and are able to relate to it and connect to it more. But I know a lot of people feel anxiety with that. It was mentioned a couple of times in my Instagram, which is why I wanted to bring it up and talk about it. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was something that was brought up again on Instagram, which is what happens when you get big life changes and there's a disruption in your flow of work. And of course, unexpected things happen. A pandemic happened. A lot of people lost people this year. I lost a really, really dear friend to me earlier this year, and that was a huge disruption in my life and my workflow. And it is incredibly hard to step back from my small business because I'm so invested in it, because I work on it all the time. It's really hard for me sometimes to take any extended period of time away from it. And because I am a one-person show, it is also very hard to step away, because I know if I'm not working on it, nobody is, and nothing's happening, and everything stays stagnant, and I'm not making any sales. So it makes it that much harder to mentally step away from my small business. But obviously, when something really traumatic or something really big in your life happens, whether you're moving, whether you've gotten a new job and you're also juggling a small business on the side, if you have a kid, you experience the loss of someone, these huge life changes have a massive impact on your mental health, which therefore will have a massive impact on your small business, because you are your small business. And it's okay to really take every ounce of time you need to heal or to adjust to whatever is going on. And you don't have to feel forced to work, because I can tell you 10 out of 10 times I've had something come up that I've needed to take a step away, The people who support me on any platform have been so kind and caring and understanding of what I need to do to take care of myself, and they encourage that. So don't feel as if people are going to feel like they're missing out, or people are going to be angry or anything under that umbrella with you because you need to take time away. And also don't feel the need to have to explain yourself either. I didn't explain anything at first when everything was going on with my friend, because I was obviously going through a lot. But after the fact, I did explain to people that I lost someone really close in my life. And no one questioned that at first. No one asked what was going on. They just said, take the time that you need to do what you need to do. So it is really important, if you have huge, significant life changes, no matter what it is, that it's okay if you really need to take that break. Put your shop on vacation mode, step away from your shop, close it down for a bit, or you can run it on the side and just let people know orders are going to take longer. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Big life changes are stressful enough as it is, so focus on that. Focus on what you need to do to adjust or heal from what's happened, and then come back to your small business when you feel refreshed and ready to do so. So I hope that this video helped anybody listening. Even if you're just listening in and found it interesting to hear about, let me know in the comments if any of this resonated with you, or hopefully it helped you in some way to not feel as alone. We all suffer from something. We all have something going on in our lives. We all, feel those anxieties or feel really down on ourselves, comparing ourselves, all of the above. Any small business owner I've ever talked to, even if we don't share the same mental illness, we've experienced a similar experience with feeling down about any of these number of topics that I've talked about today. So just know that you're not alone. Reach out to people if you need it. My DMs are always open if you ever need to talk about anything, or need advice, or need help in any capacity. Please let me know. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, if you want to share your experiences so other people can relate, then feel free to do that. I will talk to you guys very, very soon with a new studio vlog coming, and I will see you all later. I hope everyone has a lovely day.